Cincinnati Bengals are going to be taking on the Washington football team. Last week, Washington lost to the Patriots 22-13, and the Bengals beat the Buccaneers 19-14. Now, the Bengals offensive line versus Washington's defensive line. This is going to be a battle that if you are a Cincinnati fan that you have to keep your eyes on, because this is going to be a great test in trying to find out how far along and how improved your offensive line is compared to last year, because Washington's defensive line, it doesn't look like they plan on sending anybody out. It looks like everybody pretty much played last week. We saw Chase Young have that fumble against Cam Newton. So when it comes down to Washington, it looks like they're playing everybody on that D line. So for Cincinnati, you're going to get a lot of work when it comes to that offensive line. That offensive line is going to be tested. So I want to see how this offensive line is going to fare against one of if not the best defensive line in the NFL. I'm still keeping my eyes out on the backup running back battle for Cincinnati. Who's going to be RB2 behind Joe Mixon? So far, it looks like Jaquez Patrick. He had 15 carries for 71 rushing yards. He was by far the most impressive running back on Cincinnati last week. You have Chris Evans, the rookie. He had 12 carries for 25 rushing yards and a touchdown. Can a Bengals fan tell me where the heck is Trayvon Williams at? Because, I've been trying to figure out what's wrong with him. Is he injured? Is he not playing or what, man? Because I was a big fan of Trayvon Williams when he was coming out of college, and I haven't really heard anything about him. I mean, how's he doing during training camp? I can't find no articles about Trayvon Williams. The only article I was able to find was this is a do-or-die situation for Trayvon Williams, and I didn't really see him in at all. I kept, switching back the game and, coming back to the game, and I was still looking for Trayvon Williams. As a matter of fact, I was only watching the Cincinnati Bengals game to see him play, and I didn't see him play at all. So, I mean, am I tripping? Did he play? Did he touch the field? Or am I just tripping? I don't know. But where is Trayvon Williams? Is he going to play in this game or not? Because I think that he is the second most talented back on this Bengals unit. I think he's really good catching ball out of the backfield. He also has, good cutting ability as well. He's able to see the hole and make a quick cut. So I like Trayvon Williams. Hopefully he's able to play in this game wherever he's at. It's like playing Where's Waldo. I spent 50 minutes trying to figure out where the heck happened to Trayvon Williams. When you look at Cincinnati, their defense played really good against Tampa Bay last week. I mean, their pass rush was really good. Their defensive line was really good. I was really impressed with how well Cincinnati's defense played, along with the secondary, which cornerback has been a huge concern of mine when it came to Cincinnati. Okay, I don't really think they have that much talent at corner, and they also don't really have that much great depth, in my opinion, but they did have some guys in secondary who came up big and did make some plays. So I was really impressed all around with how Cincinnati defense performed last week. Hopefully they're going to be able to keep it up this week against Washington. Washington's defense, on the other hand, I was severely let down and severely disappointed. And I'm not jumping to conclusions or anything like that. I wasn't disappointed when it came to the defensive line. I was disappointed with the linebackers because the linebackers just looked out of place at certain times. There was some miscommunication, and this is the first preseason game, so of course everybody's still learning. Hopefully things should be a little bit better, but I definitely wasn't really impressed with how Washington's run defense performed, especially when you look at how Ramondre Stevenson pretty much took over that game, and he only had 10 carries, and he was a man amongst boys against Washington. So I want to see if Washington's defense continues to struggle when it comes to the run defense, at least from their linebacker position, or is it going to improve from this week compared to last week? The linebackers have to be better for Washington. The defensive line played solid, but I think the linebackers and their backups, they need to play better. Washington's wide receivers also, we don't know who's going to be their wide receiver 3 behind Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. So I'm still looking at Dommy Brown. He's my pick to end up being that third wide receiver for Washington this season. You still have Steve Sims. You still have Dax Milline. You still have Kelvin Harmon. But so far, there hasn't really been a wide receiver yet in my eyes who has really emerged as that third receiver as of right now. I'm still going with Dommy Brown, but maybe Kelvin Harmon is the guy who could break out. Then you got Steve Sims also. Now, the players I'm going to be watching for both of these two teams, Jared Patterson had a really good performance last week for Washington against New England. He caught 4 passes for 30 yards. He also was the third on the ground as well. He had 40 rushing yards. So he did a lot of things. He also had a nice grab by a throw by Taylor Heineke when he was able to come back and adjust for the ball. So when you look at Jared Patterson, like, he's a Swift Army knight. I think we could see him ending up being the second running back on this team behind Antonio Gibson, because you can use Jared Patterson in a lot of ways. I think he reminds me a little bit of Darren Sproles, even though he doesn't have like the shiftiness and the agility that Darren Sproles had. I definitely see a lot of comparisons to Jared Patterson and Darren Sproles' game, but I like what he did last week. Want to see if he's going to be able to keep it up. Dommy Brown, 2 catches for 16 receiving yards last week. I want to see what he's going to do against Cincinnati secondary. I look at Dommy Brown. He's really good after the catch, has really good hands, so I want to see what he's going to do. You look at rookie Jamin Davis. He had the tackle. He also had a couple of tackles that he was able to assist on. I want to see what he's also going to do against Cincinnati, because, I mean, like, the run defense for Washington, when it came from the linebacker position, in my eyes, was not all that impressive. Jaquez Patrick for Cincinnati last week was a bully. That's the only way I'm going to say it, man. And I remember Jaquez Patrick a lot. Where did he play at? Did he play for like FSU? I think he did. I think he either played for FSU or USF, if I'm not mistaken. But Jaquez Patrick, man, right now looks like he's in that lead role for that RB2 spot. Had a really good day last week. 15 carries for 71 rushing yards. And the run blocking for Cincinnati was pretty solid last week. So I want to see what he does against a Washington defense that has struggled against the run, at least when it comes to the depth in the run game on their defense. You also got Trayvon Henderson, safety for Cincinnati. He caught an interception last week. He had a really outstanding game, and a lot of people weren't really talking about it amongst the Cincinnati Bengals fandom. Like, everybody was talking about Jaquez Patrick and everybody else, but you definitely got to give your caps off to Trayvon Henderson. Definitely could see him being the backup to Jesse Bates. Then you got tight end Thaddeus Moss. Didn't really see him any. He only had like 1 catch for 14 yards, and I'm not really expecting a lot out of him, simply for the fact that, you know, this is preseason. Most tight ends don't really make a lot of noise. We don't really see a tight end that goes off during the preseason. They're mostly just in there to block. But you look at that, Moss, he did have 1 impressive grab, so hopefully he's going to be able to do a little bit more in this game, because the coverage from the linebacker position for Washington last week was not all that great. Hopefully it improves this week. So this is it for my Cincinnati Bengals versus Washington NFL Week 2 preseason preview. Comment what you think down below. What are some players that you're going to be watching? What are some things that you are going to be watching in this game as well?